Hi Bonnie, I'm Matt. I just wanted to make a quick video, just kind of going through what I look at, just to give you a sense of what to look for when you see one of these, because there's a couple things that stick out to me right away that are kind of like red flags to me. So we're looking through the sheet they gave here. The property address is here. This is the purchase price, $175. Here's the first red flag that I'm seeing. Rehab they have at $0. So to me, if I see rehab at $0, that means this property is in 100% tip-top shape, perfect condition, doesn't need anything at all. Because even if it needs something, even if you're going to do it yourself, you still have to pay for all the supplies. You still have to pay for everything. So to not budget for that is just silly. Next thing I saw is there's actually a first lien already. So I think maybe something was just maybe there's just a misunderstanding when looking through this. So this 175 is actually the purchase price, and they actually have a first position lien already. So this is going to be a loan from the bank. This 142,500. So the loan that they're asking for is not first position. They're asking for a second position, which they also say right here. Yeah, they have the terms here for 90 to 180 days, which is 3 to 6 months, and they're looking for $40,000, which I think is closer to what you were looking to spend. And with an $8,000 return, which is pretty much exactly 20%. So that's just something else to keep in mind. It's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people like to do second position loans. It's not, there's nothing wrong with them, as long as you are, know the risks associated with them. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about a little more here right now. So moving on from that, we have hard money loan payments. This is their, the hard money that they got on this, most likely. They have an ARV of 255. Now this is what they're estimating the value of the property to be when rehab is completely finished, 255. So that's another red flag to me, is how, if we buy the property for 175, you put $0 into rehab, how are you going to get the 150, the 255? Where are you coming up with that extra money? It costs money to increase the value of the property. If they're not putting any money into the property, then it's going to be impossible to increase the value, pretty much. That's another red flag to me here. Now, looking at these here, these are the comps that they pulled, and I definitely want to look at those and show you just a couple quick things that you can do to see if things are making sense. But, let's go through the rest of the sheet first. I'll come back to those. I already have them open on another tab, but let's come back to those. Let's just go through the rest of this. So their exit strategy is within 3 to 6 months they're going to refinance, is their play. They want to rent this property out and refinance. So immediately when I think 75%, because when you refinance a loan, generally you need to leave at least 25% in the deal in order for any lender to actually consider that. So it looks like their other option is 3 to 6 months to sell it, which, okay, is reasonable backup. Now coming down here, looking at the rehab, they're saying that they need to do carpets and interior paint. They're going to do that in 14 days, and they're going to do that with $0. Like I said before, even if they're doing it themselves, it's still going to cost money to do the carpets. It's going to cost money to paint. For them to do $0 budget for the rehab is just doesn't make any sense. That's a huge red flag for me. And then the rest of this, title company's useful, and this is just his previous experience. It's not really relevant to this property. What I like to do now, sorry, don't mind that, is I just like to play with some numbers a little bit. So let's find out exactly what they're looking to do, right? So the first thing I would do is I would take the loan that they have now. The first loan is 142,500. So that's a loan that they're going to have to pay back at some point. Next, they have $5,000 in holding fees or holding costs or realtor fees. So I'm going to add $5,000. And next, they're going to add $40,000 to that, which is what they're asking to lend from. And based on the math that I'm doing here, if you actually look, the 175 that they are the purchase price, if you subtract the 142,500, you're left with 32,500. If you estimate 5,000 in holding costs, that's 37,500. This is exactly what they're using your money, that $40,000 for. So this is a second lien position, and they're going to be using that to cover the entry fee for them, so they don't have to come out of pocket at all on this. So I just like that to confirm that, this is where the money's going. This is what the money's being used for. So, like I was doing before, so we take that 142,500. We can add 5,000 because that's the holding cost. That's how much money it's going to cost them to hold it and do the rehab. Next, we have that 40,000 that they're going to add, that they're asking for a loan for, that they're going to have to pay that back. And then finally, we have the 8,000 that they're going to pay back as well, as a as payment for it. So total, they're looking at 195,500 invested in the deal, and that's assuming the $0 in rehab. So now what I would do next is I would just subtract the ARV here, 255. And so based on this, it looks like there's a potential profit of almost $60,000 if it's true that this ARV is correct, and if it's true that there's $0 in rehab, which is, so right off the bat it looks like it would be fine, but I want to dig a little bit deeper into these two numbers here just to make sure that they're accurate. So I'll close that for now, and let's close this. So now let's go ahead and let's look at some of the properties that they found. So I opened up the 3 links that they found. I found this one, and this one. I'll close that as well, so we can start fresh. I just was doing a quick look through these. And here's our property. So the first thing I always do is I just want to get a look through our property and see what we have to work with, right? So right off the bat, I see there's some damage on the door frame over here. That's going to cost money to fix. The door is all beaten up. It's got chips in the paint. It's got scuff marks all over the place. So the door is not in great shape. I come inside, I see kind of just an old design, right? I see old colors, kind of mismatched colors that are just kind of strange. I see an old tile pattern on the floor. I see, kind of I think this laminate is okay. It's not the best, it's not top of the line, but it's fine. I see a kind of a weird red wall. That's not really typical, you don't normally see those. And then I see this big black spot on the wall. I don't know what that is, but that's definitely going to have to be fixed. Big black spots don't just happen for no reason. That kind of leads me to think there may be some damage there. And then again, same things out here, just kind of weird wall colors, floors a little old. And then we get to the kitchen, right? The kitchen, cabinets are old, the wall colors are weird, appliances are a bit dated, doors, everything here is also kind of dated as well. And I don't expect anybody, I don't expect the average person to kind of have the eye to look of what to look out for, really. But to me, it's just, it's kind of just getting an initial intake of what the property looks like, and then we can compare it to what they found. What properties they think that our property should be worth after renovations. So, and another thing here, like think of your own personal experience. When's the last time you've looked at a house and you saw tile countertops? These are years, like decades old tile countertops. Those haven't been used in a long time. So, there's bathrooms probably going to need a full remodel as well. And that's about it for the interior photos. I don't really care about the exterior photos so much. So now I like to look at the comps that they found. So the first thing that I do is I consider did they find these? When were these properties sold? And when we're talking about 2023, we need to be as close to 90 days or less as we can, because the market's been so volatile. The prices have been going crazy. Interest rates have been going up, so values of the properties have been going down. So if we looked at this property, it was sold in March. That was 5 months ago now. 5 months ago, the market was a very, very different place. So we can't expect to get the same price for this property that we could on the other one. But regardless, what I like to do is I like to look through these photos. So this is something that they think that our property should be like, should be worth, based on, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Uh-oh. See if I can get it. There we go. Based on, the conditions. It's a similar size, similar in bed and bath count, all that. I'm not really going to go into all that right now. I can talk more about it later if you like, but I just like to look at this property, right? This one's sold for, I don't remember offhand, I think it sold for $215. It sold for around $215. So if we want to sell our property for around $215, this is the condition it's going to have to look. It's got nice updated laminate floors. It's got nice neutral colored walls. The cabinets are a little bit old. They're not, they're not the nicest new cabinets, but they've got a nice stone countertop. They've got updated appliances. Same thing. Everything looks great throughout the property. Like, it's got the same flooring. It's got the same nice neutral wall colors. It definitely looks like it's an updated property. And then we get to the bathroom, right? Same thing in the bathroom. It's got the nice color walls. It's got the flooring. This is a little bit old, so maybe we don't have to. I mean, but it's still, this doesn't have the tile, the tile countertops. So what I'm doing here is I'm just figuring out how would I get the property that we have, how would I get that to this level? And in order to do that, we can just look through the pictures really quickly again. We need to update the wall colors. We need to update the floors. We need to update the kitchen. We need to update the bathroom. And all of that costs money, right? And it just kind of comes down to, you don't have to be an expert. I don't expect you to know what a bathroom remodel costs. I don't expect you to know what what it costs to renovate a kitchen, or what it costs to put laminate floors down throughout the whole property. That's ridiculous. Nobody knows that unless you're doing this all the time. The point of all that is just to, does it make sense, right? Does the number that they have for their repairs seem like it's a reasonable number for the amount of work that needs to be done? So in this case, $0 in repairs is nowhere near what needs to be done. I'm estimating, and I'm not going to go into how I do that. I can do that another time if you're interested, like I said before, but I'm estimating about $45,000 in repairs. So if we take $45,000 out of here, we're then left with $15,000, which really is not a lot for a fix and flip. So I think these margins are just a little bit too tight. I personally don't think I would lend on this. And this is assuming that their number is correct, that number that they found that for the ARV. Now, again, I'm not going to go through this part either, but I did find that I found a different ARV. So I like to use Privy to find my comps. I found a couple of comps around here that were a little less. So here's one. Here's one that it looks very nice on the inside. It's very similar to ours, and this was sold, just a few months back. It's still within the 90 days, so it's much more reliable than the other ones that they found. This one sold for $238. After making some adjustments, it's actually worth. Sometimes if properties aren't identical to each other, you have to make adjustments to figure out what the difference it would be. So in this case, this one has an additional bathroom, so I would make adjustments. This one would be about $225. And then I found another one. It was this one here, and this one, same thing. This one, it was listed at $235. It has an extra bathroom, so if I take off another $10,000, it's looking at $225 as well. So I'm finding I think the value of the property once we renovate this fully is going to be about $225. So in this case, I would come back to our numbers here. I would just do this all over again. I would look. If the ARV is $225 instead of $255, I would look. They have $142. They have their first position loan, so I have $142,500 plus the $5,000 in holding costs, plus the $48,000 for our, the private money loan plus the return, comes out to $195,000. So then if I subtracted the $225. And that's including not $0 for repairs. If I put in anything for repairs, I think repairs are going to be probably upwards of $45,000. So $240, and then if we're able to sell this for $225, and we invert that, we're looking at they're in the hole $15,000. They're negative. They're not making any money. They're losing money. I don't think the numbers. I think they purchased this too high. I don't think there's enough room to make money on this. And if they tried to refinance, they could try to refinance once they're done. If they get, 0.75%, typically you can take out 75% of a loan. If they do refinance this, 75% of the ARV of 225, 168. So that 168 is just enough to cover this loan here. They can pay off their first position lender, but they won't have enough money to pay off you. Once they take out that $142,500, they only have $26,000 left, and they owe you $48,000. So you're out $21,000. But yeah, I would say that the numbers are definitely way too tight to safely lend on this.